Hey everyone, Tuesday. I can't believe it's Tuesday. So I've been remodeling the entire site today. I got really frustrated this morning and I had to tear it down and start afresh. So I feel good now. Sometimes I always imagine, I don't know, me taking a whole bunch of this a huge tree and just punching it down and ripping it apart and then rebuilding it back again. Crazy. But it worked and it's doing better now. So, when it comes to, for example, the codes. So I love the codes. I respect them. You hear so many, there's different ways, there's different aspects of it all. It's not supposed to be written down. Just the general aspect of it, loyalty, respect. It's just important. It's something that bikers live by, on top of a whole other stuff, other, morals. So on this journey over the past year or so, I've talked to a lot of bikers, a lot, and sometimes things get kind of mixed up, especially when you're going through so many bikers and talking to every single one of them, which is a huge blessing. But along the journey, I have heard that there's sport bike codes. Over and over again, I've heard this. Even the ones that say they're sport bike codes don't seem to know what those codes are. So that's what I'm researching right now. I'm trying to figure out what the codes are. No one knows. Now, I love the sport bike community, you guys. The sport bike community is, well, I've only been off the East Coast, but I've talked to individuals all around the world that are in sport bikes, and they love to ride. They love the wind. They're all different ages. They all ride different bikes, different speeds. The reason they ride, it can just be similar. Some of them enjoy the wind. Some of them feel it's a mental health situation. Or, hey, this makes me feel better. But no matter what, they love the two wheels and they just love how the sport bikes are built. Now, they also live by things, how they are, how they act with each other. It's something it's definitely a family, especially with pennant riders. It's amazing experience to see them all, especially when they all gather. I love being around them. I don't know if they're different than the cruises. I do. You always feel things. I don't know if you guys are in tune with your surroundings and stuff, but I am one of the ones that are always in tune. And there is a different feel when I'm around sport bikes. I don't know what it is. I have not been able to put it to words. It's something that I am still deciding and observing and learning no matter what. But the sport bike community seems to be such an amazing community, and they deserve the respect they do. I know a lot of you guys are like, "Oh, how dare they speed?" and how they just go in and out of traffic and they bring a bad name to us. I think any biker can bring a bad name. And sadly, as a human, we generalize, and so when one person does bad, we generalize it completely. And the biggest thing as a owner of the creator of We Are Bikers, We're Bikers Unite, it's one thing that I kind of want us to it's not going to ever change, I don't think. But I would like to put that out saying, hey, try not to generalize as much as possible. You might see a trend, and that's something that's really important to discuss. Those trends are important. But us generalizing, even in society, it doesn't help anything because it also causes seclusion. It's like a witch hunt, you can say. I mean, we definitely like to put people together and say, oh, they're all like that, when really they're not. They're all individuals. So that's the biggest thing I can express is if anyone knows the sport bike codes, it'd be wonderful to understand them, to listen to them and see exactly, maybe kind of compare and contrast and see what are the sport bike codes? Why? How long have they been around? What causes them to be codes for the sport bike community? I talked to a biker that was from Germany, and he loves the United States. He was the most amazing biker I met. I was at Bikes and Breakfast out here in Virginia Beach. He was the best biker ever, and he was wearing his Harley Davidson stuff. And I asked him, "What's the community like in Germany?" And he was like, "It's quite divided." He's like, "Cruisers and bikes do not talk to each other. They don't do what we do here in the United States." I think that's really important to talk about. And, I don't want to sit there and just talk, have like my own opinion. To me personally, if I'm studying it, I'm learning it, I'm grasping, I'm living it, then at that point, then I can maybe talk a little bit more about it. But I'm not in Germany, so I really express. But it's an honor. If any of my German bikers, any bikers that are from Germany that have been in Germany, talk a little bit about it. Email me at wherebikersUnite@gmail.com. Text me 757-74-5489 and just talk to me. I'm here to help. I think with with the biker codes, it's important to hold a way of life. Like, yes, there's motorcycle enthusiasts, but they also have morals and values. But with the codes themselves, when it comes to bikers and these codes, this is generational. It's been passed down by word of mouth between relative after relative, after, brother after sister, like over and over again for years. And it's something that we need to hold on to. And all these different riders are coming in and individuals that just see two wheels and say, "Oh, I want to do that." It's important to learn the past before you get on that bike. And I can express that. I mean, can be expressed in all across life because people came before us. And you may sit there and say, "Well, I have my own beat." Yes, it's important to also understand, observe, learn, grasp it. And when you come in, you're not just, I mean, yes, you're going to disrupt, let's be honest, every single person disrupts something. But maybe if we have a little empathy between each other, that will go a long way. I had a big conversation the other day, and it was just with a friend. It wasn't even with a biker, about how we cannot bridge a gap between the differences. And people think that you bridging a gap is changing your own values and changing your own opinion and making you less a person. And sadly, that's what society has bridged with media. It's the reason why I don't watch this anymore, because it's one way or the other. It's not, life is colorful. I always think of Gray Street by Dave Matthews Band, you guys. But life is colorful. People are colorful. There's so many different types of shades of people. And I think it's really important to grasp that, especially when you ride. We sit there and we see somebody in leather and we think, well, they're all leather bikers and they're tough as nails. And no, they're human beings. They have wants, they have likes, they have dislikes, they have viewpoint. I think it's so important to respect that. And so from here on out, if we can be able to figure out the biker codes for different types of bikes, if the sport bikes have codes, then we know what they are, verbally or not verbally. It's important. And if there are different types of codes from between everyone and different ways of life when it comes to everyone, communicating around the United States, also internationally, Canada to Mexico to Australia to Europe to Asia to we're all different types of individuals. And you guys all are different types of riders. It does come down to two-wheel to three-wheel. You guys are all riding these machines. There's different types of machines. There's different types of ways of working on those machines. It's a different type of way of life. And it's important to grasp that. And I think with us growing and being able to respect that, that's an important aspect that we should be able to cherish. And so when we sit down with each other that are all different, please understand that you're not losing yourself by sitting with somebody that's different than you. You're actually gaining more insight and also learning to be more empathetic. Just as we're different doesn't mean we have to lose our values. And being able to walk amongst different people, I don't know, I love it. I love it absolutely. I love being understanding and being able to sit there and say, "Wow, why do you think that way?" Or what brought way up and how did that happen? Or not even how, but I respect that I didn't get that way. And so when it comes to sport bikes and cruisers and these codes, they're important to grasp because number one, it's generational, but number two, it's a way of life. Number three, it's important to grasp the difference of each other. We're going to have so many different types of independent riders that are coming on, especially when it comes to motorcycle enthusiasts, especially when it comes to a whole lot more people riding now. I had one comment from a biker that says there's a whole lot more bikers on the road now than there were before. And so just advice, the new bikers that are coming on, be respectful. Learn educate, listen, open those ears. The biggest thing we can do is just be quiet, listen to all these bikers, the ones that have been here before. And yes, mind you, some of them have very old school ways of thinking, but there's nothing wrong with that. You can still get your path going and bring in insight, especially when it comes to, for example, women writers and male writers. I mean, that's a huge topic. And it's different per most of the bikers I met love women writers, but there's always one or two that are like, listen, it's a man's, it's something that we have done for years. It's a sexist thing at times, but we still have to be respectful, and we may not like that. We may, well, that's old school way of thinking, but we should still respect that no matter what. And so I'm hoping with us listening to each other, like I'm not trying to pry in anything. I just need to learn. And as a biker society, I have to learn these things. And I pray that somebody can help, because when I talk to people like, oh yeah, we have biker codes for sport bikes and they're different. And they're that different, but they tweak. But then I ask them what they are, and there's crickets. So it'd be nice to be able to have someone can talk to me about them internationally or nationally. Somebody please know. Um, I posted it in my Hampton Roads Facebook group. And, on a side note, some guy came on. He was like, "Oh, you're a cop." I'm like, "No, I'm not." And I put him in his place too, because I'm not one of those. Like those statements can destroy somebody. And I'm not a cop. I don't work with the feds. Don't sit there and point at me there and tell me that, number one. And especially on a post where I'm generally asking what the codes are. Like general, you guys. I just need general aspects right now just to understand. It's called empathy, and I'm building a biker society. I kind of need to know. So anyway, I put him in his face. He was like, I got burned. I was like, I'll bring you some ice. I'm always about humor and stuff. Be careful what you say to whom, just so you guys know, because I'm not a cop, and I don't want that going around anywhere, because I'm a cop, and I don't appreciate it. Now, when it comes to, for example, the comments, some of them are like, they don't be written down. Well, I get that. It's a word of mouth. It's verbal. But I've also been talking to, for example, the Biker Codes that has an amazing website. I've also been talking to bikers one-on-one, and they write loyalty, respect all over the place. I'm just trying to understand what the sport bike codes are. If it is a big difference, if it's not a big difference, I'm still going to respect the sport bikers no matter what, because I do. I adore every sport bike. And we'll talk more about that community as well, because I think the sport bikes are really misunderstood. I'm just going to be frank. I do. I absolutely adore my sport bikers. I do know that they do get it. Like, everybody gets in trouble no matter what around the biker community. But the sport bikes get a pretty bad rep. And I think it's important to be able to talk about that. And so we will have dialogue soon. But this one is literally just trying to figure out what the codes are for the sport bike. So if you guys let me know, I'd really appreciate it. And thank you so much for taking out, 5 minutes of your day to listen to this podcast. Any questions, don't be afraid to email me or Amelia. We're always here for the bikers. You do hear my voice more because I have the tools right now I'm more social media aspect. She's more in the real world. But we equal each other out really well, you guys. And I'm really excited. And don't be afraid to talk with her. She's there as well. She's so important to this organization. She's my co-chair. She's been with me since the beginning. And she goes where I go. And so every time we do our phone conferences, every other day we talk and we catch up because we are in different states. But yeah, all right. It was such a pleasure talking with you guys. Go ride the wind therapy. Have a blessed night. Take care.